said you can unmute.
All right, guys. So make sure that all lines are muted, and Dr. Maniscalco will be the only one to unmute. Awesome. So we're periscoping this live as well, but this is going to be recorded, and I'm excited to have an incredible individual here tonight. My name is Jessica Crate. We do these each and every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So excited to have you guys on tonight. The featured guest is going to be covering Nrf2 You, the cardiovascular breakthrough. So as you know, Nrf2 is critical to maintaining the health of your entire body. And we have invited Dr. Benedict Maniscalco all the way from Tampa, Florida, to be here with us tonight. He is going to be covering the ins and outs of the cardiovascular breakthrough, his story, why this is so powerful, and what's in it for you and how you can take advantage of this. So Dr. Maniscalco is from Tampa, Florida. He is the founder of Heartbeat International and a world-renowned cardiologist, and also works on the board. He's the chairman on the board of Heartbeat International as well. So Dr. Maniscalco, we are so excited to have you on tonight. So just to unmute your line, and we're going to introduce the ABC Primetime video and share with you guys the brief overview of what this is all about. And I'm going to unmute his line while we're on here so he can jump on. Yeah, he's unmuted. Perfect. Awesome. So we're going to show the ABC Primetime, but Dr. Maniscalco, if you're on and you want to introduce the video, and then we can go from there.
Well, I think the video sets the stage for what we really want to talk about tonight, and I'll say this now and then I'll say it again later. What you're about to see is one of the most remarkable discoveries in all of science. And in my career, the Nrf2 pathway and it works is the most important medical breakthrough in my career. It may be the biggest breakthrough in all of them, certainly in the top 5 as far as I'm concerned. It affects each and every one of us, all of us breathing oxygen. So I feel look at this primetime video and understand that you're a remarkable discovery.
Yep, go ahead. I think you're breaking up a little bit, Doc, but hopefully we'll get the connection sorted. But this ABC Primetime is absolutely incredible. Guys, it's aired in 2005, like Dr. Maniscalco said. So we're going to watch this ABC Primetime because it really sets the stage for what we're going to be talking about tonight. And then we'll bring Dr. Maniscalco on. So let's rock and roll.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building,
oh, guys, sorry I wasn't sharing the screen so you couldn't see it. This is continue. Awesome. My bad. I am so grateful for the gentleman that shared this with me because he is teaching me every day. So here's the video, guys. Back to square one. My apologies. And
you want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment. A kind of guinea pig.
Dr. McCord, okay.
I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver to meet Dr. Joe McCord, a world-renowned scientist. This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test.
Can you scoop? Yeah, there we go.
It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company. They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body,
Leading to disease.
leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress, and we all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. But as we get older, some of those toxic radicals overwhelm our enzymes and wreak their havoc. For a long time, scientists thought that antioxidant vitamins like C and E would lower it, but they don't.
As it's turned out in just the last 5 years or so, we see that they're not good enough tools. They're not powerful enough.
But this pill, he says, is powerful enough. In fact, many times more powerful. So, doctor, how often do I take these? And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. Doesn't taste bad. It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even radicals before they can harm our cells. But as we get older, some of those toxic radicals overwhelm our enzymes and wreak their havoc. For a long time, scientists thought that antioxidant vitamins like C and E would lower it, but they don't.
As it's turned out in just the last 5 years or so, we see that they're not good enough tools. They're not powerful enough.
But this pill, he says, is powerful enough. In fact, many times more powerful. So, doctor, how often do I take? And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. Doesn't taste bad. It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes. So you can see the age-related.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. But in Dr. McCord's tests, taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old.
They all are reduced to the level of oxidative stress that one would expect, frankly, in a newborn or a very young child.
So just what's in this seemingly incredible pill? Well, actually, its roots are very humble. Protandim is a combination of 5 plant ingredients. Some you may know: green tea or turmeric, a spice used in Indian cooking. Others, Withania somnifera and Silybum marianum, are more exotic.
There's a huge human experience with each of these ingredients. They've been used often in traditional medicine in India and China and many other cultures, in some cases centuries and centuries.
And so, ancient Eastern healing and modern Western medicine may soon be working together. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease.
yes,
Depression.
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
Dr. James Crapo with the National Jewish Medical Center in Denver is also researching Protandim for the company.
We make no claims about curing any disease or preventing any disease. We hope that when enough studies are done, perhaps such claims might be able to be made in the future.
Clinical studies to assess Protandim in both diabetes and heart disease should start in 3 to 4 months. But what about everyone's old nemesis, aging itself? Well, it's all about balance between the good antioxidants and those toxic free radicals.
And if we can tip that back, we may reduce some of the bad side effects of aging. Why my skin is different than that of a baby, for example. That's a very obvious part of the aging process.
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. Dr. McCord calculates the numbers. The result, my level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Would you suggest I keep taking this supplement?
I would. I can't guarantee it's going to extend your life. I can't guarantee it's going to eliminate any diseases or cure any diseases.
But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
Awesome, guys. So that was the ABC Primetime Report, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Maniscalco. And for those of you who are just tuning in, Dr. Benedict Maniscalco is from Tampa, Florida. He is the chairman and founder of Heartbeat International and is one of the top cardiologists, not only in the state of Florida, but in the entire country. And furthermore, he is in the top 1% of our global company, LifeVantage, and he's here to share with us a little bit of his story, background, and why Nrf2 and You, the Cardiovascular Breakthrough. So, Doc, take it away.
Well, thank you, Jessica. I'm very pleased to be here. I want to thank you for the invitation, and I hope I can shed some light on this incredible, fascinating new discovery in science. If you were paying attention to the prime time presentation, there was one graph I hope you really focused on. It was the graph in which Dr. McCord concluded after we drew the blood on our good investigative reporter, in which he said, it doesn't matter at what age, we can return your level of oxidative stress to that of a newborn. And if you look at that graph closely, it was not at zero. It had a value. So that's where we want to start the conversation. You and I were loving products of our mom and dad. We love our mom. She gave us life. Mom also gave us our first little bout with free radicals and oxidative stress because she gave us her blood. And so when you think about oxidative stress, the first thing to do is to remember that you started life with oxidative stress and you had free radicals. And that as you go through life, you will create more and more free radicals because you breathe oxygen. And because you breathe oxygen and combust it to make energy at your cellular level, you have side products. And that's what a free radical is, the side product of the combustion of oxygen and food elements that you take into your body that are unstable chemical compounds. Those unstable chemical compounds are avariciously looking for a mate, another chemical with an electron to share with it. And if it doesn't find one, it will attach every single place it possibly can if it's not neutralized. What normally neutralizes these free radicals are the survival molecules we make in our body, which we call and term antioxidants. They are looking for an electron, so they grab the free radicals, they neutralize each other, and they go on their merry way. No foul, no harm. But when we don't have that neutralization, the free radical attaches any place it can, and the result is injury. Injury to the place in which it attaches, whether it be the cell wall, whether it be the retina of your eye, whether it be the lining of your blood vessel, wherever it attaches, your chromosome, your DNA, it will cause an injury. And injuries always get a response from the body. And that response you've come to know and read about in the magazines that you read and newspapers you read, called inflammation. And inflammation is always going to end up in a scar. So inflammation is the body's response to an injury. And if you look at the slide that we have up on the screen, you'll see that free radicals can come from any of those different types of stresses, whether it be environmental, chemical, food in origin, or just the natural process of breathing. And when you make those free radicals and get the inflammation, the body responds trying to wall it off and cure it. Well, what happens when you get that inflammatory response? Well, what you get is a scar at the end of the day. And a scar is always the result, the end point of inflammation. So as you look at this cascade of events, oxidation, free radical production, injury, inflammation, scar, you have the beginning of aging and disease. Now, how does that all happen? This is the beauty of it all. The discovery of how it all happens, what we're talking about tonight. If you look at the cell and think about it as a factory, the factory is producing molecules that are good for our survival and are good to neutralize free radicals. But as we go through life, since we started out with a quantity of free radicals already, we're making more and more free radicals, and we are in the process having to change the manufacturing units in our cell from making free radicals and other survival genes to making those things that promote inflammation so we can fight the injury. Well, that means that the machinery is now going to be devoting more and more of its time and more of its capacity to promoting inflammation and causing disease and aging, and less to being able to produce antioxidants. Now, how does that happen? It happens because there's a messenger in this factory that talks to the boss. The boss is the nerve center or nucleus of the cell, and that boss sends out the orders about what we're going to produce in our cells. But the Nrf2 molecule is like the foreman in the factory sending the message to the nucleus as to what's going on in the cell and what we need to manufacture to maintain the health and integrity. So if you look at what Nrf2 is, it's a molecule or a system of molecules that act as messengers to the nucleus. And it sends a message to the nucleus, and when that message arrives, we see the nucleus giving out commands in which we start making enormous amounts of antioxidants again, and survival genes and molecules that are health promoting and not injurious to our cells. So that process, that reversal of the engine, so to speak, is the enormously wonderful process that we've come to know as the antioxidant pathways mediated through the NRF molecule. So since we age, Nrf2 production is decreasingly made, and when we give Protandim, a combination of 5 different herbs, it sends a message and activates Nrf2 to break it loose from its anchored position in the cell, and it goes to the boss in the cell, the nucleus, and says, boss, we're overwhelmed. We need to make more antioxidants. The beautiful thing we've discovered. So now, when you look at all of what we've just seen in the ABC video, we've learned what the mechanism is to fight injury and the mechanism to reverse the process of inflammation, subdue inflammation, suppress it, and produce hundreds of survival genes. Now, in my career, I've seen a lot of incredible discoveries in medicine. But this, to me, is the most incredible discovery of all. At this point in my career, I can tell you that when you can understand how disease occurs, you can now direct your attention at how to fight that process, and certainly the discovery of the Nrf2 pathway is part of that scenario. So here we are in a situation where we've got a product that has no comparable competition, has nothing that can do what it does, and certainly nothing that can do it with natural ingredients to the extent and with the power it can do it. In one of the slides, we saw that Tecfidera, a molecule that is used to treat multiple sclerosis. Yeah, that's the slide. You can see that this Tecfidera produces activation of the Nrf2 pathway. And for this remarkable statement, there's a statement in here, not in this article, in the multiple sclerosis one. There's a mention by Pharma that Protandim, a natural product comprised of normal phytochemicals, has a greater capacity and greater power. There you go, a greater power in reducing the effect of multiple sclerosis. In other words, increasing the activation of Nrf2 far greater than the pharma product that has been produced at a cost of about $50,000 a year versus our product, which costs about $40 a month. So here we have an opportunity to spread the word. So what's the word? The word is every human being, every mammal, uses oxygen. In fact, many plant life forms use oxygen. And every single living form that uses oxygen and has oxidative stress would benefit by activating the Nrf2 pathway to produce 18 times the amount of superoxide dismutase and catalase and the other powerful antioxidants that protect our cells. So when I finally spent 3 months in looking at this history of the development of the science, I was overwhelmed and I was incredibly impressed. And I then said, well, if it's in the literature and all of these universities have validated this, this has got to be for real. But since you're going to hear from so many people that there are not a lot of human studies, except the initial one on the reduction of T-bars, I said, let me look at my patients and see what happens. I took 100 consecutive patients. I measured their inflammatory markers prior to and after about 60 days of taking Protandim. And I can tell you that every one of them returned their levels of inflammatory markers toward or absolutely to normal. I'd never seen that before in my practice of medicine. And of course, since I'm a cardiologist and the disease of vascular atherosclerosis is an inflammatory process, I said, my goodness, everyone should be on this. To date, I have about 800 patients on the product. They are all doing well. I've seen drops in the need for medications for diabetes. I've seen drops in the need for medications for hypertension. I've seen drops in the need for cholesterol medicines. I've seen arthritis improve. I've seen all the inflammatory bowel diseases improve. And why? Because all diseases are associated with oxidative stress and inflammation. And our product, our flagship product, Protandim, speaks to the very heart of that by activating Nrf2 and giving us the opportunity to increase antioxidation molecules and survival genes to an enormous extent unknown to any other product or any other drug. So I can tell you that if you are dealing with Protandim and you're dealing with the other products that activate Nrf2 that our company makes, you're dealing with incredibly modern day science, the hottest area of research in the world. The last two articles that came out just last week, one was the amelioration of diabetes. The second was the attenuation of breast carcinoma, all of this with Protandim. You're going to see more and more of these studies come out because this is an exciting and an incredibly important area of research. Now, the reason I ultimately got into this then is because every human being in the world is in need of fighting oxidative stress. And since I'm a physician, my first calling is to help patients. And therefore, I believe that every single human being that's alive, if possible, should be on an Nrf2 activating molecule, and this Protandim is the most powerful that exists today. I then also understood the business opportunity, and thank goodness for that, because running a foundation is not an easy job, takes a lot of money, and so I registered the foundation as well. And the foundation is now creating a revenue stream as a result of the populations in the various countries we work in, starting on Protandim, and in our skin line and in our energy drink, all three of them that are very, very much Nrf2 synergizers. So I can tell you that my calling as a physician has been amplified, augmented, and made much richer by the fact that I now can work with an Nrf2 activator. The patients with the vascular disease and every other inflammatory disease are all benefiting. And I hope that you can convince all your friends and family to take the product at a very minimum. And that should be very comforting to you because you're helping to improve their health. And those who become part of our company in terms of distributors, you're helping their economic health as well. So those are the reasons why I got into this business, and I'm very, very happy to share that with you, and I hope it's of a value to you. If you have any questions you want me to answer, I'd be happy to try to do so.
This is fantastic, Dr. Maniscalco, and I know there's a couple studies that really tipped the point for you that stood out on PubMed.gov, and they're pulled up here if you want to go into just briefly what really sparked your interest in this company and kind of what it's done for the longevity and what you're excited for.
Well, I think that the review of all of the peer-reviewed studies I saw were all very, very impressive. But the one that tipped me over, the tipping point, if you will, was the so-called Ohio State study. You know, we've been doing bypass surgery now since the mid-60s and of last century. And the biggest problem we had with bypass surgery, once we got past the technical aspects of actually bypassing, was the fact that our vein grafts, which we were using, were occluding. That is, they were blocking off. So the Ohio State study gave me the explanation. If in that study, if you read it, what they did was they took a vein, which we use in bypass surgery, and they put it in a low oxygen environment. Now that's where a vein usually resides, in a low oxygen environment. And nothing happened to the vein. It stayed very normal. The tissue did not become affected by oxidative stress or occlusion. They took the same vein and put it in a high oxygen environment, which is what we do when we do a bypass. We take it from the vein side of the body to the artery side of the body, which is a high oxygen environment. And guess what? The vein graft occluded. It got more and more thick, and it ultimately blocked. But the fascinating thing was that they took Protandim, pre-treated the vein in a high oxygen environment, and the vein remained normal. That's astounding. So now all of my patients who have bypass procedures, especially when the veins are used, we give them Protandim. And as your patient Protandim that I can get to take it. And so that explains something that has plagued cardiovascular medicine for a long time. And then there's another study that talked about the effect of Protandim in decreasing the amount of oxidative stress in the lining of the artery. Now, for those of you who are not as familiar as some others, when you have a plaque in your artery, it is not inside the lumen or the inner part of the artery. It's in the wall of the artery. It occurs between the inner lining and middle layer of the artery. When you damage by oxidative stress or free radical injury the lining of the artery, you cause it to be porous, just as if you had a rent in your fort's wall. Cholesterol and all this other stuff gets into the artery wall and causes what? Injury, oxidation, and inflammation. And that is the whole genesis of what I've been dealing with for almost 40 years in cardiovascular medicine. When you treat with Protandim, you protect against the endothelial damage, and you make this artery protected against the huge amount of inflammatory plaquing, which leads to the scar tissue and ultimately the blockage. So those two studies, as a cardiologist, took me over the top and made me become a believer. So we talk about belief in this company. I got the belief in the science more than ever. And when my peers published these papers, and I was able to, fortunately, to read them, and even what we're dealing with when we deal with Protandim, it's only because they have not been exposed to this, and they have not for the clinical arena to catch up with the scientific laboratory studies which have validated the whole process of oxidative stress being decreased by the use of activation of the Nrf2 pathway. So those are the studies that took me over the top.
Awesome. Fantastic. It's so powerful. You know, Nrf2 is critical to maintaining the health of the entire cardiovascular system. And just hearing your belief in this company and also Nrf2 from your background and extensive background working as a cardiologist in Florida is very profound. Now, I know jumping into the next couple slides, I know we have some questions. Everyone's time is valuable. We have the products for the inside out approach. So we have Nrf2 for the inside out. This week specifically, we're focusing on the heart. So if you're a guest on this webinar, make sure you get back with the individuals that invited you here to get more information on the comprehensive approach. Every Tuesday we do a webinar here. But in terms of the business side, you know, I think a lot of individuals, myself included, coming from the medical industry, the pharmaceutical world, just hearing from you from a physician standpoint, what had attracted you, or what hurdles did you go over to jump into a direct selling company, despite knowing all the product research and the validated science, which is incredible? Talk to us a little bit about your experience with the business side.
Well, I think that's a very important question. For me, it's you know, when I was first approached by my partner, Dr. George Capote, Dr. Capote. I call him Dr. Capote because he has an abiding interest in everything nutraceutical and network marketing. So I call him the Doctor of Network Marketing. He approached me, and I didn't want to get involved. And the reason I didn't want to get involved was that I had been involved with network marketing company prior to this. If some of you will catch an infomercial that Larry King does all the time on a product called, well, I won't even talk about it. It's a wonderful product. I take it today, and it's because it has an effect on the cardiovascular system in a different pathway. I was a major investor in that company, but it was a private company, and the owner of that company ultimately did not act in a proper and professional and ethical way. So I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth for that. But I knew that if there was a way to get to a general population, which something that was health producing, I wanted to be a part of it. When I learned that this company was a network marketing company making the product that I had just researched, and that it was a public company subject to the scrutiny of the entire SEC and to everything being transparent, and thus subject to review by every individual who was working with the company, that was a very powerful influence on me. The other thing that was very important, and it's probably one of the first statements I made to Fred Graves when I first met with him, was that this product is a product that the entire universe of patients should be taking. You have told me that. I'm validating that for you. So as a fellow who is working with indigent populations around the world, poor people who don't have access to, and even if they did have the money for appropriate care, this would be a powerful product to put around the world for a population-based therapeutic intervention to help prevent the onset and progression of disease. So in my thought was, I've got a public company. I don't need to worry about a hanky-pank anymore. I've got other people, attorneys, and the inspector general who do that for me. Everything is published, and now I've got a company whose products are based richly in science, which I've validated, and are applicable to population-based medicine, which is my passion today, given the fact that I run an international foundation that works in the more undeveloped countries of the world. So those are the things that drove me to get involved on the business side, register my foundation so it could get an income, and make the products available to the population in the countries we're working in. And as we expand, I will definitely be able to take greater advantage of that and get it to more and more people.
Fantastic. That hits the nail on the head for sure. I know that you want to, and I brought up this initial slide just to show the timing piece. And, you know, I joined several years ago in this company and was very skeptical of network marketing, but knowing what we know now and being over 6 years in past that make it or break it stage is absolutely key to hitting that. And you touched on this earlier, the tipping point. And that tipping point where positive epidemics, and in this case, a Nrf2 education platform is launched. And just even seeing this timeline from inception, from 2004 when that ABC primetime aired up until today in 2016, is very exciting. And, you know, you touched on this too, you know, everybody who breathes oxygen and their pets, as well as the world, is going to hear about it soon. So understanding this, if you're new on the webinar and it's the first time you're hearing about this, be sure to tell your friends and family. And regardless of how you decide to jump in, I love this quote by Thomas Edison, and it's a great opportunity to take advantage of what we have. So guys, we're going to wrap up with this last video and share with you this, and then we'll close it out. And Dr. Maniscalco, if you're open to questions, we'll stop the recording and we can answer some either chat bar questions or just some one-on-one questions from you. Is that cool?
I'd be happy to do so.
Awesome. All right, let's close out with this 1-minute clip, and then we'll end the recording.
radicals are naturally occurring molecules that can cause serious damage in your body. If free radicals are allowed to overwhelm your body's ability to fight them, they can adversely alter lipids, proteins, and DNA, triggering a number of health concerns. Fortunately, scientists have made a remarkable breakthrough that promises to give your body a natural aid in the fight against free radicals. It's called Nrf2 activation. And according to researchers, it's a powerful process that stimulates antioxidant production and can wake up your body's ability to stay healthy. Understanding Nrf2 activation begins with understanding how oxidative stress caused by free radicals affects your body. Free radicals are a natural result of your body's metabolic processes. Under normal circumstances, your body also produces antioxidants, which neutralize free radicals and limit the damage they can do to your cells. It's a bit like having a factory in your cells that produces enough antioxidants to keep the free radicals under control. But exposure to X-rays, ozone, cigarette smoke, inflammation, air pollution, industrial chemicals, and even exercise can overwhelm the body's natural responses to free radicals, allowing them to wreak havoc on your cells and your health. Over time, the damage to your cells and DNA turns off the power in the cell's factory, reducing our ability to create antioxidants and leaving us vulnerable to premature aging and health concerns. Fortunately, science has given us the ability to turn the power back on. Nrf2 activation. Nrf2 is a protein messenger that binds itself to DNA and is a master regulator of the body's aging process. Through the study of nutrigenomics, scientists have discovered that certain phytochemicals found naturally in foods turn on our ability to create antioxidants to combat aging and preserve health. Protandim is specially formulated with an optimal blend of these phytochemicals found in foods like turmeric and green tea. This patented blend is formulated to turn on the Nrf2 biochemical switch that creates and releases the antioxidants your body needs to fight free radicals. And what do scientists say about Nrf2 activation? In just the last 10 years, researchers have published more than 500 studies about the power of Nrf2 to activate your body's natural response to free radicals. One recent peer-reviewed study from Washington State University calls Nrf2 activation one of the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthroughs in the history of medicine. For more than a decade, LifeVantage has been the leader in developing effective, natural Nrf2 activation supplements like Protandim. We're excited to share the power of this breakthrough to create a healthier life for you and your loved ones for years to come. LifeVantage, activated by science, inspired by life.
Awesome. I absolutely love that video. Just really wraps it up. You did an amazing job explaining Protandim, Nrf2 activation, and really what it's doing to our bodies and how to combat that. So a company that's backed by science and inspired by life. Dr. Maniscalco, it has been an honor and definitely a privilege to have you on tonight. Your reputation precedes you, and we're just excited to have such world-class people as part of this company. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but before I do, we really appreciate each and every one of you joining us. We truly believe that we can together make the world a better place. So for more information on Nrf2 or to get started, please get back with the person that shared it with you. Any feedback, comments, questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email's at the bottom. Venture Hire Together, guys. We're excited to rock and roll. This has been recorded. It's been periscoped, and we're definitely appreciative of you all being on.